If you're looking for a new running watch, it can be a mission to work out which one is the right one for you because there are so many out there. But today I'm going to take you through the entire range of Garmin's GPS smartwatches, hopefully to find out which one could be the best for your fitness and running needs. There's also a chance for you to win the watch of your choice from this selection by the end of this video, so stay tuned. So to start, question time, what do you want from your watch? Is it maps, music, all the stats, or do you just want to keep it simple and log your runs? Garmin has kindly given us access to watches of all specifications and price point, grouped loosely into three categories of fitness smartwatches, running smartwatches, and outdoor and adventure smartwatches. So hopefully there really is a watch for every different type of runner out there. All of these watches come with the following features, so that's phone compatibility for smart notifications, tracking for certain activities, monitoring your health stats like heart rate, respiration, sleep, hydration, stress, and body battery, as well as compatibility with the free Garmin Connect app, and loads more features in some cases as well. So we're going to dive in to all of the specifics about each watch. First up, we've got fitness smartwatches, which are great for if you're dipping your toe into running, want to keep an eye on your overall health, but also potentially are looking for something that is stylish visually rather than potentially looks very sporty. Now, they all have a touchscreen, some of them have buttons as well, but overall they're great for daily wear. For a fitness watch that gives you ample data about your health and wellness, as well as some great fitness features, the Vivo Active 5 could be the watch for you. So it measures 42mm, which is a really nice size, and it's 26 grams, so super lightweight, so you hardly notice it, so that's a good start. It also has some amazing fitness features where it tracks your body battery, which is how much energy you have during the day broadly, so you can see what tires you out and what recharges your body battery as you go about your day. It also includes great fitness features like Garmin Coach, which gives you adaptive training plans for 5K, 10K and half marathon, all provided by expert coaches for free through the Garmin Connect app. There are more than 30 GPS activity profiles preloaded on the watch, things like walking, running, cycling, pool swimming, and specific wheelchair activities as well. That's a really nice feature here. It will track your wheelchair pushes throughout the day, as well as providing wheelchair-specific workouts. You can also download songs and podcasts directly onto the watch using connected apps, which means you can go out phone-free listening through Bluetooth headphones. There are 11 days of battery life in smartwatch mode, and this watch will also provide you with a sleep score and personalised recommendations on how to improve your sleep, including things like tracking your naps during the day and how those impact on your overall recovery. And those sleep features are also a key part of the Venue 3, which we're going to talk about now. If you're looking for something even more premium, then the Venue 3 is a stunning fitness smartwatch that gives you even more support for your overall health with some advanced features. So there are two sizes, 41mm and 45mm, so that does give you options depending on the size of your wrist, and the S version, the Venue 3S, denotes the smaller size. Now it has the stunning stainless steel bezel, which I think is really nice, as well as a big combination of possible colours in terms of watches and the straps, and you can also get a leather strap instead of the silicone if that's your preference. Both of the sizes of the watch come with a beautiful full colour display and all of the features of the Vivo Active 5, as well as a few more advanced ones. This includes animated, preloaded workouts for things like HIIT, yoga, strength, and more, and you can find extra ones on the Garmin Connect app. All of these get sent to the watch so you can follow the animations whilst you're doing the workouts on your watch. So essentially it's like having a personal fitness trainer in the form of the watch on your wrist. The Venue 3 also has a built-in microphone and speaker, so if it's connected to your phone, you can make and take calls directly from the watch. You can also set it up to work with your phone's voice assistant in order to respond to text messages. And then finally, the Sleep Coach feature has been released with the Vivo Active 5 and the Venue 3 to give you a recommendation for how much sleep you need based on your previous night's sleep and your daily activity levels. Next up, and one that's slightly different, is the Vivo Move Sport, and that's because it's a hybrid fitness watch. And I love the fact that it has real analog hands on this watch face, so they're there all of the time, it's not a display feature. And then, as well as that, there is a touchscreen display which gives you some of your fitness metrics. It measures in at 40mm from the case size, so it probably is better suited to smaller wrists. And then another nice feature is that you have 20mm quick release bands, so you can change the way that it looks by adding on different straps if you want to for different occasions. So this watch doesn't have GPS, but it does track things like your sleep, your heart rate, and your step count, for example, amongst other things. And if it's in smartwatch mode, then it will last you for 5 days in terms of the battery life, and in pure analog mode for 6 days. Plus, you get the bonus of just a 15-minute charge, giving you a full extra day's worth of battery life. The final watch in the fitness selection is called the Lily, and this is the smallest watch in Garmin's collection, and this actual version that I've got here is called the Lily Sport. So it's a stylish, fashionable watch, which also gives you plenty of data about your overall health. It measures in at 34mm across, which is very small, so it was worth bearing that in mind. And it has a really cool patterned lens, which looks to me to be in the shape of petals, which is cool, on top of the display, which is a nice bright touchscreen display. Just like Garmin's other watches, this one gives you loads of data too to help you lead an overall healthier life. Things like hydration, respiration, heart rate, as well as the ability to track menstrual cycle or pregnancy. And then for completeness, it's worth knowing that you can get a leather strap on the Lily Classic as opposed to the silicone strap that's on the Lily Sport. Now, do you want a GPS watch that specifically helps you to take your running to the next level? Well, that's exactly what the Forerunner range of watches aims to do. First up, we've got the Forerunner 55, which is an ideal watch if you're a new runner looking for lots of features to support you in your running, or maybe you're a really experienced runner who doesn't feel that you need some of the advanced features that we're going to come onto in some of the later watches. Now, this watch has what I think is Garmin's superpower in the Forerunner range, and that's called suggested workouts. Measuring in at 42mm, it's lightweight and you don't really notice it when you're running, which is great. And then every day it will give you a recommended training that you should do that day, which is the suggested workouts I mentioned. And that takes into account things like your recovery time and fitness level in order to give you tailored training to suggest what you might want to do in order to get fitter. Another great feature is Pace Pro, which can help you to set your pacing strategy for your training runs or your races and tell you whether you're ahead or behind your target. Now, there's an even more advanced feature of this on some of the later Forerunner watches, but again, this can really help you on race day. It might be called the Forerunner 55, but it doesn't just track running either. There are plenty of other activity profiles on the watch that you can use to track those different sports as well. And whilst you're doing that, it has 20 hours of battery life in GPS mode, so more than long enough to cover even the longest of your individual runs, and up to 2 weeks of battery life in smartwatch mode. Now we've got the Forerunner 255, which offers you all of the same features of the 55, some more advanced insights into your running and your overall health and performance, and some advanced features like you can get a version where you can listen to music without having to take your phone with you. There are two different size versions, the smaller one which I'm holding, which is the 41mm 255S, and you can get a 46mm version as well. It has up to 14 days of battery life in smartwatch mode and 30 hours in GPS mode, so again, really impressive battery stats. You can opt for a version with music, like I mentioned, which allows you to provide music directly onto the phone if you've got Bluetooth headphones. It also has a great feature which uses your overall running fitness and your running history to give you predicted times over 5k, 10k, half marathon and marathon. And then there's also an added multi-sport feature which allows you to switch between swimming, running and cycling, for example, if you're doing triathlon or maybe duathlon with just the push of one button. If you're serious about your running and you're really looking to improve, perhaps for a specific race goal or race distance, then the Forerunner 955 could be a really good fit for you. It has multi-band GPS, which is the most accurate possible GPS system setup, so to avoid losing GPS signal or accuracy in built-up areas or wooded areas. With a straight-up 955 model, you get 15 days of battery life in smartwatch mode, 42 hours in GPS mode, and if you switch to something called Ultra Track mode, then you'll get 80 hours of battery life out on your what would be incredibly long runs. But there's also a solar version which provides extra battery life through solar charging through the screen. So that means you get an increase of up to 20 days in smartwatch mode, 49 hours in GPS mode, or 110 hours in that Ultra Track mode under certain conditions when the watch is charging from the sun. The 955 is also one of Garmin's first watches to have the real-time stamina feature, which gives you data on your level of exertion as you take on an activity or race. And it's also the first Forerunner watch to have a touchscreen, so you can scroll through all of the various widgets using the touchscreen or the buttons, or you can choose to enable it or disable it, whether that's in or out of activities. Add to that the fact that it has an incredible built-in mapping feature where you can navigate using full colour maps on the screen, then that could be something that tips it over the edge. And then finally, there's also the Climb Pro feature, which gives you real-time data on your gradient, distance, and elevation as you tackle more undulating terrain. The Forerunner 265 is very similar to the Forerunner 255 with a few notable exceptions, the main one being the introduction of this beautiful AMOLED screen, and that's been the introduction in the 265 and the 965, which I'll come onto in a minute. And when you compare them side by side with their LCD equivalents, you do see just how bright and vibrant these screens are. I'm holding the 265, which is the 46mm version, but there's also the 265S, which is 41mm across, so you do have two different size versions, but all of the versions of the 265 have built-in music, so that is a slight difference to the 255 where it's an added option. The screens are beautiful and they're incredibly bright, easy to read, and they do make a massive difference. But also, because it's a Forerunner watch, there's lots of other data on here as well. Things like training readiness, which uses your recovery, your sleep score, and the amount of training that you've done to give you a recommendation on when it's okay to go hard again. And now we're on to Garmin's premium flagship running watch, the Forerunner 965. It has all of the features of the 955, but like the 265, has this addition of the brand new AMOLED screen, which is really beautiful. So this is the 965. I'm also wearing it, and that's what I've been using for all of my marathon training. So that means that I've got a watch on my wrist with full color maps with that beautiful screen, built-in music, navigation, all of the apps and activities that you'd expect, plus a lot of detailed insights and statistics into my running. The watch measures 47mm and weighs in at 52 grams, so by no means a heavyweight, and it has really impressive battery life figures of 23 days in smartwatch mode and 31 hours in GPS mode. I mentioned that the suggested workouts feature is the superpower of the Forerunner series, starting with the 55, but in the 255, 265, 955, instead of getting just daily suggestions, you get to look at your entire week of suggested workouts. And you can also program those suggested workouts to be working towards a specific race goal using the race widget, where you put in your target race date and time. One of my favourite features on this watch, and the one that I use the most on mine, is the navigation using the amazing touchscreen to show me the map and exactly where I am and to plan out my routes. Broadly speaking, there's no excuse for getting lost. I have got lost a few times, but that was definitely user error, not the watch's fault. Not to bang on about navigation, but I will, because it's my favourite thing. One of the features of the 955 and the 965 is round trip routing. So if you go somewhere new, like on holiday, and this is where I usually use it, you can select on your watch that you want to run 10K, 15K, whatever it might be, and it will select a round trip course for you, which it plots, and then you just go out and follow it. There's also Full Pace Pro, which is an extension of the feature in the Forerunner 55, but this time, because of the navigation and courses ability within the watch, it takes into account the full course, the elevation, in order to help you to plan your pacing strategy, to allow you to take into account the fact that you might want to go a little bit slower as you go up and pick up some speed as you go on the downhills. If you want to see Pace Pro in action, then check out the video of James taking on the New Forest 10K. The watch will also assess two metrics, endurance score and hill score. So endurance score is additive to VO2 max, but different, basically a measure of how good you are at endurance running. And then hill score is split into two categories: strength, which is how good you are at running up short, sharp hills, and endurance, so how good you are at running up longer hills. If you need any of those metrics explaining, we've got a video all about that. If you want to go beyond everyday running, then let's take a look at Garmin's range of outdoor adventure smartwatches. If you work or just love being outdoors, like the aesthetic of an adventure watch and potentially don't care about a fancy screen, then the Instinct 2 or the Instinct Crossover could be a great option for you to take a look at. The Instinct 2 is a massive step up from the original Instinct with a whole raft of additional features. And just to touch on the Instinct Crossover, it uses the same body, the same style as the Instinct 2, but this one has analog hands, which I like the aesthetic of. And if you like glancing at your watch and always being able to see the time using an old school approach, then that could be something that appeals to you. The Instinct 2 comes in three different sizes: 40, 45 and 50mm, the latter being the Instinct 2X. And they also have solar editions as well. Now, in the standard version, you get up to 4 weeks of battery life, but in some of the solar versions, you can claim to have unlimited battery life in certain conditions in smartwatch mode. The Instinct Crossover is really distinctive with its analog hands, which are luminescent, as well as a digital display, and super accurate timekeeping thanks to RevoDrive technology. The Instinct 2 and Instinct Crossover are pretty much indestructible, with both of them rated to military standard for both thermal and shock protection, and being 100-meter waterproof. There are actually also tactical versions which allow you to jump out of planes and all sorts of other stuff I don't understand, so if that's for you, maybe do a little bit of research on those too. They have A/B sensors too, so that's A for altimeter, B for barometer, and C for compass, so all of those things should help you in the outdoors. But don't worry, they also have all of the features that you could need for running, as well as things like golf, HIIT, and mountain biking to help you with all of the activities you could possibly want to take on. Now for the Fenix 7 Pro, which is Garmin's top tier sports watch for those who might want to track multiple sports with ease. All versions of the Fenix 7 Pro feature solar technology for extended battery life, and there are three different sizes: the S, the regular, and the X, which are 42, 47, and 51mm in size. One of the biggest features of the Fenix range has always been the battery life, and thanks to the power glass in the solar versions of all of these watches, you can get up to 37 days of battery life, which is incredible. There's also a premium version with a sapphire lens, which provides extra scratch resistance, and a titanium body. The built-in flashlight can give you greater awareness and visibility when you're out in the dark. You can also change the intensity of the flashlight and change it to a red safety setting, as well as a strobe version which can match your running cadence. There are all of the advanced training features that you'd expect, including including things like hill score and endurance score that we mentioned in the Forerunner series, and you can log all sorts of activities ranging from running to rowing, snowboarding, skiing, and loads more. There's full screen built-in mapping and navigation, and in fact, a whole bunch of our presenters used the Fenix 7 Pro to navigate up and down Snowdon when they were taking on an epic 24-hour challenge. There are also incredible advanced training features, things like hill score and endurance score that we mentioned earlier on for the Forerunner series, plus almost all of the features that you'd expect in the 955 and the 965 from that Forerunner range. Now, if you're looking for Garmin's ultimate multi-sport outdoor adventure smartwatch, then the Epix Pro Generation 2 could be what you're looking for. Just like the Fenix 7 Pro, the Epix Pro comes in 3 different sizes. That's 42, 47, and 51 millimeters. So the S, the normal, and then the X, respectively. And the main difference here between the Epix Pro and the Fenix Pro is the screen. The Epix uses a new AMOLED screen, much like the difference between the 965 and the 955 in the Forerunner range, to give you an incredibly bright display that's incredibly easy to read and really beautiful to look at. Name a health and fitness feature from Garmin's lineup of possibilities, and this watch has all of them. And 2 of my particular favourites to call out are things like Jet Lag Advisor, which gives you advice and guidance on how to deal with jet lag when you might be travelling a long way, which could be really useful if you're travelling for a major race halfway across the world. And also Health Snapshot, which you can ask your watch to do at various points or various intervals in time, and then compare how your health metrics stack up. And in case you haven't heard, an incredible team made up of Running Channel presenters and friends of the Running Channel crossed the whole width of the country along Hadrian's Wall using the Epix Pro, the Fenix Pro, and the Forerunner 965 watches, so check that out if you haven't already. Last but very means not least, we've got the Enduro 2, which is perfect for any ultra athletes out there who want serious battery power coupled with mapping technology. Designed with battery life as the focus, this comes in one size, the Enduro 2, which is the 51mm size. So that's the same size as the largest Fenix 7 Pro or Epix Pro, the X versions of those. It has a solar-powered touchscreen as well as a built-in super bright LED flashlight. In smartwatch mode, there's up to 34 days of battery life, but then with the right solar conditions, that could be 46 days. Then when you switch into GPS mode with solar charging, you could see up to 150 hours of battery life. That's why it's perfect for those ultra activities. Add in the comfort of the Ultra Fit strap, which uses a hook and loop system to give you a perfect fit, and it's definitely designed for people who are out on the trails or the roads for a long time. It includes grade adjusted performance metrics to take into account things like terrain, elevation, your ascents and descents, as well as giving you a trail VO2 max number that takes into account the fact that it's harder running on trails up and down mountains. Another great feature is the automatic rest timer, which keeps track automatically of the time that you spent at an aid station or rest stop during an activity, which means you don't have to worry about pausing your activity and forgetting to start your watch again. No more watches, they've gone, but that's because I can't tell you which one is right for you, but hopefully I've given you an insight into the fact that there's a vast range, loads of different things for different people, so no matter how experienced you are or what your goals might be, there's probably one in there for you. But this is your chance to win one of these watches. We hammered on about it at the beginning of the video. If you want to drop us a comment, subscribe to the Running Channel and give this video a like, then you're in with a chance of winning any of the watches that we've shown you today. You just need to let us know which one you want. And then once you've dropped us a comment, you should watch this video here, which is all about the different metrics that we talked about on all of the different watches in Garmin's range. Hopefully it should help explain some of them.